Good evening, baseball fans. It is Thursday, May 16th, and it is a very good Thursday indeed. Because guess what, y'all? Guess what? We have mopped the Oakland A's. And I know some of you are like, I don't know what a mop is. We swept the Oakland A's, Susie. Do you know ball? Yes, I do. A mop is when you sweep in 4 games. That's what a mop is because it's more than a sweeping. Anyways, I'm Susie. That is Tom. This is Bourbon and Baseball, Astros edition. And here we go with the rated R warning because there will be lots of cussing because I am extremely happy. And I cuss when I'm happy. I cuss when I'm sad. I just cuss in general. So if you are not a fan of the 4 letter words, you should probably turn this off now. Hide your kids. Don't hide your wives, but hide your kids unless you want them to learn all of the 4 letter words, in which case, let them listen to it. I'm not judging. So, again, guys, there's your 4 letter word warning. So, this is a rated R podcast, but only for that, not for any of the other rated R things. No nudity, none of that. Just all of the 4 letter words. Probably some inappropriate adult humor, too. And away we go. Tom, how,
Susie,
how did you pay attention to the games while you were on the boat?
so my kids are incredibly spoiled. I'm incredibly spoiled too. So the internet package is a thing. You can spend $100, I think it's $100, and you get the internet package. And for me, that's like a no-brainer when you have kids that want to do all the things, you just get the internet package. So I would be able to get on all the social media apps and like YouTube, but I couldn't like actually watch the games. So I lived vicariously through all of y'all. I got to see all the horrible things with Ronell, which we'll get into, and just things that I'm sitting there wishing I could share my frustrations. I tried to tweet some, not so much. I didn't want people to be like, "Where's Tom?" and then have to explain myself. So I went on a 5 day cruise, and yeah, so that's how I kept up with the baseballs. Thanks to Susie, who is always going to let us know when she's not happy. I was definitely able to know what was going on. So if you do not follow Susie, you're fucking up. And this is not
Indeed.
only the Astros edition. This is the first and probably not the last headband edition because whatever's in the headbands that Alex Bregman is wearing, he needs to keep wearing. And
All of
whatever
them.
he gave to everybody, they need to keep wearing them too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Marucci. He called up Marucci. Marucci was like, absolutely, here, give all of the headbands. You want more headbands? Headbands for everybody. Although, give Singleton and Trey Cabbage the props though, because they had the headbands before Breggy did, but they obviously don't get the credit because Breggy, $1 million contract, millions. Gotta add that there. Dollars contract. Anyhow, let's start from the beginning, y'all. Let's start from the beginning. Coming into the A's series, we knew that this next stretch of games, this homestand was going to be important, mainly because it is going to be in division rivals. We took the series from the Detroit Tigers. Yay. Yay for that. That was awesome. Encouraging steps over there. We had to come into the A's series. I predicted, what did I predict? I didn't predict a sweep. I think I said we were going to win. And then I thought we were going to lose the Christian Javier start. And CJ heard the slander and said, fuck you, Susie. Watch what I can do. However, the 4 games coming in with the A's, we all know, if you are a listener of the Bourbon and Baseball, you will know my feelings on the A's and who our daddy are. Oakland Athletics. I was secretly hoping that like we would pull it out. And we did. I was very excited about that. But like
Normally they're not.
deep down, I was like, are the Oakland Athletics are they gonna be our daddy? Because there was a couple of games here where it looked iffy. It looked very iffy. But that first game, Breggy said, hey y'all, remember who the fuck I am? He heard all of the slander. He heard me call him Alexander David Bregman. He heard the government name being used, the full government name being used in the mom tone too. He's, I don't want that smoke anymore. I don't want it. Probably should do the things. And he did. Multi-homer night, 4 RBIs. Spencer Getty, first win. That's got to be like a good, like nice weight lifted off of Spencer Eric Getty's shoulders. Love that for him. The bullpen did some work as well because he only went 5. Montero came in, Taylor Scott came in, not Presley came in the second game, but did work. We put up some big numbers in that game. We bookended the series. We bookended the series with big wins. 9-3 first game. We go get some momentum. We love that. Second game, Ronell, my ace, your ace. What I consider like the stopper in the rotation. Going good. Was going good. And then in the fourth, Eric Backus apparently felt his glove, and apparently it was the stickiest he had ever felt anything. I don't know about you, but I remember hearing these words in all, legitimately all of the other ejections and sticky substance checks in the league. Max Scherzer, Domingo Herman, Clark Schmidt. And yet, some of those didn't get ejected. Some of those got to wash their hands and change gloves and then resume their fucking game. Not Ronel Blanco. And if you know anything about the sticky, the whole reason we do the sticky, I say we, like I am in the dugout, that the pitchers do the sticky is to increase spin rate. But guess what? His changeup doesn't need spin rate. Okay? You don't want more spin rate on the fucking changeup. That's the whole reason you do the changeup. And if you look at the data, it wasn't up. Unless apparently he's been using the sticky the entire time and not gotten called for it, not gotten caught. Like, what is more likely, y'all? That Ronel Blanco sweating like a pig, used the rosin, and apparently the rosin was on his non-pitching hand, and that's where the whole problem was, that the rosin was on the non-pitching hand and that he didn't know that was not allowed. Why rosin on your non-pitching hand is not allowed is beyond me. Or are you supposed to have the rosin bag that you're allowed to use, but then it's too much of the rosin, and if you take the rosin, you see them rub up the balls with both hands. The rosin is gonna get on the other hand at some point in time. And then are you supposed to wipe that hand before it goes back into the glove? The whole thing is just fucking stupid. And if MLB would just get their shit together and make a ball that wasn't fucking smooth, or made a ball that was like consistent every single fucking time, we would not have these situations. Or have some sort of, I don't know, like limit on fucking rosin or whatever substance you're allowed to use, because rosin technically is allowed, not an illegal substance. And that's the whole thing. Like, apparently, they're not allowed to use too much rosin because too much rosin is going to be sticky, and yet you get ejected for the rosin and the sweat. And you mean to tell me that with all of the technical advances that we have this day and age, that there can't be some sort of, I don't know, test that you put that shit in the glove and be like, oh, nope, there's something else besides rosin in here. Like, I can put a fucking, they've got nail polish that changes color when you put it in a drink that has fucking roofies in it. So you mean to tell me that you can't fucking come up with a test for rosin? We can make the nail polish with the roofies, but rosin's too much. Come on, like, fix it.
So my big issue is there's no protocol. And when I found out this whole thing happened, I immediately needed to see it. So I'm over here scouring the interwebs to figure it out because obviously I wouldn't watch the game. What I can't get past, and for me, it's they pan to the umpire when he's got the glove, he's got it in his hand, he's making this face like, nodding back and forth, like, could be sticky, could be not, I don't know. Shit eating grin on his face. Do I want to say something? Is it not, or whatever? And then they confer amongst everybody. And again, which I cannot understand for the life of me, why on earth they're checking him after or before the inning when everybody and their mother gets checked after. They just don't.
Well,
I mean,
apparently the ruling is that they can check whenever they want, beginning, middle, end of the inning or whatever. And my question is, and Ronell handed it to him straight up, like, they asked him for it, and Ronell's okay, handed him the glove. And I realized that if he did have something on his hand, like, I realized they probably wouldn't like hem and haw and be like, well, straight up. Like, there was no hesitation. Gave him, like, took the glove off, gave it to the umpire. And if it was the stickiest that he'd ever felt a glove, why did there need to be like the conference? There we go. Of the umpires. At that moment in time, the stickiest substance you've ever fucking felt, you're out. And then for them to say that they're gonna go test this glove, that that it was in an umpire's locker, that they had to go run it back. So you mean to tell me that it's fucking CSI over here now? That's what we're doing? But and my again, my question is, at the beginning of umpire training school, is there levels of stickiness that they're saying is too fucking sticky? Are they like sticking their hand in, I don't know, honey? They're like, okay, that's a little sticky. That sticky is okay, but pine tar sticky, not okay. Do you know what I'm saying? What kind of training is going into this? That all of a sudden now we're just The stickiest thing I've ever felt in my entire life.
MLB.com, or not .com, but MLB, I saw the following day did a thing where they said they had Mark DeRosa and they had some guys, and they were basically saying that these guys do go through a training process to identify what is sticky, what is not sticky. But as you've seen with so many other players, if it's borderline, if it's questionable, if it's not discolored in any way, they've let guys go wash their hands, they've let guys change out gloves, they've let guys do all these other things to go, okay, we're not sure. I can't call it. Let's start over and then see. And in the case of Domingo Herman, didn't he get 2 or 3 different goes at this? Like where they were like, hey, we don't like it, whatever. Or maybe it was Clark Smith. One of the Yankees pitchers was not good. And then obviously we know where Garrett Cole sits with the whole spider tag thing. But my point is this: there is no protocol. There is nothing that they can use to, it's all personal preference. And the crazy thing is when you see Dana Brown get interviewed, you can just see the disgust having to talk about it because it's a personal preference.
Right.
Literally, if that guy feels like this is too much. And I believe the reason he went to the head chief, Laz Diaz, was to get somebody to co-sign. So it wasn't just, oh, no, I thought it was bad and rung him up. I just, I can't understand if you see a guy who's begging you to touch his hands, like begging you, look, here's my hands. I'm
Right.
not throwing the baseball with my glove. Here's my hands. Like, this is what you need to be worried about. I'm not hiding anything in my glove. And then another thing, which I thought was so great, and shout out to, I believe it was Brent Rooker, who got interviewed the following day and said it was incredibly humid in there and did not feel that Ronel Blanco did anything. His pitches didn't look any different. It wasn't like he was facing something crazy. And then all the different things on Twitter where you see all these guys that are just sweating
Hmm.
profusely, whether it was an A or an Astro, it did not matter. And so they're trying to stay dry. They don't want the
Yeah.
ball to slip out of their hand.
Oh yeah, no. JP Sears, the athletics pitcher that was going against Ronell, had to change his jersey in the third inning. And they had those like light they had the light gray jerseys. It was dark gray. It's not dark gray, it's light gray. He had soaked through. Next inning comes out and it's like a dry jersey. So Dallas Braden, who is the color commentator for the Oakland A's, even tweeted out and said, "From my vantage point up here, it doesn't look like anything besides sweat and rosin." And he went and he looked at the velocity and the spin rates, and that's where you're going to get the changes if he is using some sort of illegal substance, too sticky, whatever. And he even said that there was no discernible changes. So when the opposing broadcasters, now don't get me wrong, people, we all have run into the broadcasters for other teams that have no qualms about burying us at any chance they get, i.e., Rangers broadcasters looking at y'all. So the fact that Dallas was stepping up and saying, I don't think that this is correct. The opposing broadcaster is saying that. You would think that maybe that they should probably look at some sort of actual results versus the fucking stickiness that you feel in your goddamn hand.
And for all
And
you
that
keyboard warriors, this is a former MLB pitcher, someone who actually did the job, not
mhm,
somebody from the couch, not somebody that went to school, not somebody that has no knowledge of what that guy's going through on the mound. So I
yeah,
know it's who's he, what has he done? No, his fucking credentials speak for themselves.
absolutely, absolutely. And then for legitimately all of you motherfuckers on podcasts, on Twitter, on social media, "Oh, here comes the Astros cheating again." Motherfuckers, if we were cheating again, don't you think that we would have a better fucking record? We're gonna dig this hole this fucking deep, and now we're gonna start cheating again? Fucking use your brains, okay? Or I guess maybe not, and just show us how fucking stupid you are by making these kinds of comments. It's just the most idiotic thing in the entire world, and it just irritates me to no fucking end. And I'm all, "Okay, alright, that's fine." And then when you actually show them results, it just so irritating. But regardless, Ronell said, "Okay, fine, I'm ejected." And bullpen put in fucking work. Taylor Scott went too after going back-to-back nights. So he went 2. Montero came in, Abreu came in, Presley came in, and then Hader came in for 2. It is May, people. It is May, and this is the 3rd time? 2nd time. 3rd time he's gone 2 inning closes, 2 inning saves. Padres people, I love you, Padres fans. Okay. But for all you motherfuckers out here saying, oh, Josh Hader, we don't want Josh Hader because he's not going to, he didn't want to save for y'all because you didn't pay him to do that. Brewers didn't pay him to do that. Houston paid him. And he said, okay, our fates are now intertwined. I will go. My contract is paid. If I blow out my arm because you wanted me to go 2 innings at a time, so be it. He's willing to do that, and he's been willing to do that. And the first time he went to, he hadn't done so since 2021, and now he's done it this many times. Has it been 3 times or has it been 2 times?
I think it's been 3.
Has it been 3? I'm gonna double check that probably for the next pod because I'm a very serious journalist here. I take my responsibilities very seriously. But the fact that he's been willing to do that because he got paid, you can't fault him for that. You can't. I understand Padres fans. I understand why you're mad. I get it. But you can't fucking fault the guy for it, okay?
All
Maybe.
the Astros
Oh,
fans that buried that man in April that said, we paid 90 fucking million dollars for this guy and he's not good. Why is he closing? Bring me Presley. Calm your asses down. Because here we are in May, and you look like you have every bit the absolute nails closer that you went out and paid for. Did it
yep.
take some time? Yes. Was there an adjustment? I'm sure there was. But all I know is now, the guy that I see now, I trust him with the ball in the ninth.
You trust Hater with balls? I'm
It
sorry.
writes itself. Writes
You set
itself.
me up. You set me up. Anyhow,
Yep.
Victor Caratini. Shout out Victor Caratini because I believe that you are probably most likely the best offseason signing that Dana Brown has ever done. Master fucking class. Because Victor Caratini, second walk-off hit. Love it. Fucking love it. Also, that game, we got to give our flowers where flowers are due. And Mason fucking Miller. My God. If you only watch Houston Astros baseball and this is the first time you have seen Mason Miller, welcome to the Mason Miller show. Those of us that have watched Mason Miller close out games against the fucking Yankees and Orioles and just making really good hitters just look fucking stupid. We've been trying to tell you. The fact that he started Altuve off with 2 sliders that were 86 miles an hour and then dotted a 104 fastball on the outside corner and just locked Altuve up. It was poetry, legitimate poetry in motion. It's gross. The things that he is able to do. The fact that he's got that slider, that slow slider, and then you're sitting on the slider, and then he's, hey, JK, here's 104 miles an hour. You're not gonna do anything with it. He walked Kyle Tucker. I'm pretty sure he walked Kyle Tucker intentionally slash unintentionally. He was not gonna challenge Tuck in any way, shape, or form. And everybody else, here's my fastball. Try and fucking hit it. Mason Miller, you get all of the flowers, sir. Absolutely. And the best part about that game was the fact that he had to go 2 innings and wasn't available the next series where Fromber came out and shoved. Hats off to you, Fromber, for being the horse that we needed because you went 7. You went 7 after the bullpen saved our ass in game 2. And him and Seth Martinez, man, Seth Martinez's arm is going to fucking fall off by
Don't you dare say that.
by July. We're gonna speak it into existence, people. We're gonna speak it into fucking existence, and the starters are going to do starter things, and they're gonna do the innings like we expect them to do. Therefore, arresting Seth Martinez and not having to use him as much as we have. But if we continue to use Seth Martinez the way that we have, his arm will fall off in July. Let's just be really honest. So, Fromber going 7, Seth Martinez closing it out. Chef's kiss. My cat is now laying on my notes, so I no longer know what I want to say.
I disagree with you. I don't think so. I don't think we would have seen Mason Miller because the offense did just enough. I'm really proud of what the Astros were able to do all series long about clawing out runs. Yes, they left guys on base. It is what the Astros do. They hit the ball a lot, but to be able to score for these guys it's so important. And when you have a 3-0 lead instead of a 1-0 lead, those games just feel so much safer and so much better. Even when Seth Martinez came out and got into a little trouble, you felt, okay, he could give up a run and still close the game out. Where in games past, you're like, man, he's got to be perfect because it's 1-0 in the 6th or whatever. Definitely so proud of the back, especially the back of the lineup, the bottom of the lineup. Just absolutely going to be a problem going forward when Jordan gets right. When I want to say Yiner gets right, but he had a day to day. He'd been scuffling a little bit. Obviously, the return of Bregman moved him back up to the 4. So that's encouraging, very exciting. And you just feel differently about this team than you did 2 weeks ago because now the timely hitting's there and the pitching starting to be there. And that's really all you needed.
Yep. Oh, absolutely. And then let's talk about tonight's game. Let's talk about tonight's game because not gonna lie, I was a little apprehensive with CJ going because of that blow up start that he had in Detroit. Detroit, right?
Correct.
Okay. Giving up 7 earned in the first inning and not being able to do anything. And first inning of this game when he sat down 3 in 12 pitches, and like I said 43 times on Twitter tonight, an efficient hobby is the hobby that I like. That's my favorite hobby, efficient hobby. And we all know because it takes hobby 7, 8, 9, 10 pitches to get motherfuckers out. And by the third inning, we're already like 60, 70 pitches in, and it's a fight to get through 5 in 100 pitches. And tonight he went 80 pitches, 80 people, 80, and covered 6 innings. He looked sharp. He looked good. The changeup was working for him. The fastball was working for him. He was commanding the ball to go where he wanted it to go. And it was chef's kiss. And then Sean Dubin came in for 3. And essentially, the fact that Seth Martinez came in and we didn't have to use anybody else, and Sean Dubin came in for 3, they reset the whole bullpen. And so now the fact that we don't have any off days between this series and we go right into the Brewers series, and the Brewers had an off day today, just heroes, Sean Dubin, Seth Martinez. Okay. Big shout out to John Singleton. Big shout out to John Singleton. All of the flowers for you, sir, because 6th inning, that was a game changer right fucking there. 2 on, 2 out, and John Singleton worked a walk to load the bases, and we erupted. And by we, not me. Yiner here hits a bases clearing double. Jake Myers. I wasn't even in the room. I couldn't even say any of the nice things to Jake Myers because I was tucking my children in. I was trying to be a good mom. And I walk in and Jake Myers is on second. And I'm like, what the fuck just happened? I left the room and we scored the runs. And I was like, shit, maybe I need to walk out the room. And then Mario Joseph Loperfido, the most Italian name that I've ever heard in my entire life. Mario Joseph Loperfido hits his first show home run for 2 runs, drives in Jake. You know that weight's got to be lifted off his shoulders because he's been in the show for what now? 3 weeks? And Kerstad? No, Kobe Mayo, excuse me. Kobe Mayo in the Orioles system, the Norfolk Tides, has just now tied Joey Loperfido's record for home runs in the minor leagues with 13. The fact that he got to 13 home runs 3 weeks ago and people are just now catching up to him. And that just goes to show you guys how much different the disparity of pitching is between AAA pitching and big league pitching. The fact that this kid who was just blasting balls out of the parks was essentially hitting singles, mainly singles. I think he'd gotten maybe literally 2 doubles, and this was his first home run, and it's taken him this long. Love that. Love that for Joey. And today was the headband game. Today was the headband game. Hence why I have my headband on. Tom has his headband on. But now let's be clear about this. I have worn this before on the show. You can go back and look. You can go back and see. I've worn it before. Okay. Maybe Breggy saw mine and was like, I want to be cool like that bitch. But yeah, so the fact that like this, we've now won 5 in a row. Who would have thought 5 in a row, man? That I would be feeling like the weight of the world has been lifted from my shoulders. That we've won 5 in a row. Tom has never lost faith. Tom has never lost faith. I had half faith. I was gonna be here regardless, guys. I was gonna be here regardless. Bad attitude and all. I was like, damn it. Why? Why, Breggy? Why do you suck? Apparently it's because the knob wasn't going out farther. I don't fucking know. Apparently he changed his mechanics. I don't know. Did you see that breakdown that D-Row did?
Mm-hmm.
And he said something like his feet are farther apart or something, or is he squat them off? He
So
looks exactly fucking the same.
he didn't. And the interesting thing is that D-Row made a very good point. And it was like everything made so much sense. Breggy got wider so that when he loads up, he had lost his balance and lost his, I think he was saying he loses his back leg. So it makes him
Okay.
want to scoop instead of drive the knob of the bat through the ball, just stay level plane. And when you see the before where he's wider and you see his shoulders tuck under, and then it just looks like I don't even have to see where the ball goes. I'm like, oh, that's a pop up to first base. I've seen that one. I know exactly what's going to happen. And then you see Bregman more compact, more straight up. And then he's on top of the ball. Like he's saying in his mind, it's not so much that it's actually happening, but in his mind, the barrel of the bat comes across his chest. So the knob is pacing the pitcher. So it creates that lag. He's just hitting a more level swing. And for Bregman, when he's doing it, that's all his power. It's weird how he tinkers. It's weird how moving, just giving himself 2 more inches changed the whole game.
Everybody needs 2 more inches. Everyone.
You know what? I'm just gonna be me. You get what you get. And now
Right.
he's over here raking. And I think baseball is such a mental game in the standpoint that when you're going good, everything feels right. So for Bregman to find something that he felt comfortable doing, now you just see a more confident, aggressive approach. There's a little extra, he's got like a little toe tapping, a little, I don't know, where a hitter will be in the box and he's got, it's almost like a fidget where he's like trying to
Mhm.
time the pitcher. Bregman's up until this recent streak, it was like his body language looked bad. Now you see a dude that's like attacking the baseball. And it shows because even when he's not creating that great contact, he's still finding holes that he wasn't before. These were routine ground balls to the second baseman. Now he's finding the hole between first and second or whatever. And we've been
We
saying
love
it.
when Bregman finds the holes, people.
We've been saying it. If Alex Bregman, I felt like he was the key. When Alex Bregman got right, this team was going to get right because he was just going to unlock this offense and being able to work around certain people or get to a spot where Bregman has to be the guy. And now it's okay. Now I don't have to be the guy. Now I just have to do my part. You're seeing them score 9, 6, 8, and those are hard to cover because they were trying to do it. Their pitching staff was over here giving up 9 and 6 and 8 and putting all that pressure on the offense. So you combine that with Spencer having a great outing, CJ having a great outing. I don't give a shit what anybody says about Ronel Blanco. That dude's a stud, and he was going to shove again that night if the umpire didn't decide, you know what, I've got a vet in Vegas that I need to cash. Because for me, I'm wondering, I can't imagine how we get there. And the only thing I can imagine is that somebody made some money off of the fact that Ronel Blanco got tossed in the 4th inning because he was going to go 6 and he was going to give up no runs.
Absolutely.
His
Absolutely.
pitch
And
count was phenomenal.
yep. Yep. And and then the people that are like, "Oh, you better get rid of Ronell's no hitter." Shut the fuck up, people. Like, just stop. You don't fucking know ball. Just be quiet. It made me so mad, and I was gonna get into so many Twitter fights with like random strangers, and I was like, no, I don't have time. I do not have fucking time. I need to give this team and certain players on this team their fucking flowers because y'all, overall in MLB, the first 3 batters in offensive WAR belong in the NL. Kyle, Daniel, Tucker is 4th in offensive WAR with 2.3. 2.3 people.
Susie, you got to lay off all these middle names. They're producing right now. You
I
got to save that for when they're in trouble.
No, I'm just so proud. I'm so proud. I'm so proud. And honestly, I was trying to remember Kyle's middle name, and it took me a second because I want to say that I actually have a baseball of his from I guess one of his first baseballs because it actually does say Kyle Daniel Tucker
No
on there.
way. That's
Yeah.
cool. I bet you it
Yeah.
doesn't sound like that no more.
Oh God, no. I'm gonna. Is it a baseball? Yeah, it is. I saw it. Hold on. I'm gonna get it.
They're going into a Brewers series with a ton of momentum. And a lot of people will tell you the Brewers are playing really good baseball. And they're going to face in this series, which Susie will break down here shortly, Freddie Peralta, who's very good.
Can y'all
Wow.
see that?
I can. Straight up Daniel.
Yep.
That's pretty dope.
So,
So
if you are audio only, go look at the YouTubes. You'll see my first round, Kyle Daniel Tucker David. Shit, now I gotta look. Anyway,
and this is the kind of the way you go and attack these really good teams. You come off a great series, you feel good at the plate, you feel good pitching, and now some of their horses are starting to round into form. And for me, I always felt like this team was going to be able to compete with anybody. There was going to be no team top to bottom that they couldn't go toe to toe with. And now the division, which we talked about at length, Susie's really big with the standings, has not gotten away from the Astros. I have so many bookmarks that I can't wait to turn loose of all the hypothetical trades. And if the Astros are 10 games out by July, they better reset this thing, get as much as you can for all these guys, start over. And those are all going to look so, so dumb.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Kyle Daniel, excuse me, Alexander David, Kyle Daniel, Tucker. Tuck leads in offensive WAR with 2.3. Guys, 2.6 for WAR position players. Wins above replacement for everybody, 2.6. Okay, that's zero point 0.2 behind Bobby Wood Jr., guys. Right? Batting average. Shout out Jeremy Pena with a 333 batting average. This doesn't take into tonight's numbers. Baseball Reference, I'm looking at you for not refreshing immediately. What the fuck? Altuve with a 312. On base percentage. Kyle Tucker with a 403. Jeremy Pena with a 375. Altuve with a 374. All right. Slugging. Kyle Tucker slugging number, guys, is a 597. It's so dumb. Kyle Tucker, you were such a good baseball player. Good night. On base plus slugging, OPS. He is one dotting it, people. One dotting it. One. He's so good, guys. He's so good. I don't think we realize how good he is.
He's on pace
I
for
don't
50 home runs.
leads the AL in home runs and hits. Pena and Tuve are neck and neck, guys. 55 and 54. Total bases. Kyle Tucker with 92. Guys, this team, Tucker is one behind Judge in walks. And he may I don't know what Aaron Judge did today. I
I
don't know
think
if
they
he
were
walked
off.
today. But Tuck drew 2 walks today, didn't he?
Oh, no. The Yankees beat the Twins
Oh
5
yeah,
0.
5-0. So Tuck may beat maybe winning in walks. But you know who he's not beating in strikeouts though?
And
Aaron
fucking Judge.
Judge. Mhm.
Judge walked once. He went 2 for 3 with a walk.
Okay. So I will update you guys on the next podcast about his walk-in numbers and see. But guys, I do not think that we appreciate Kyle Tucker enough. And I need everybody and their mom and dad and grandma and grandpa and whatever deity you pray to that Jim Crane just opens his fucking checkbook and just writes Kyle Tucker a fucking blank check. Like what Steinbrenner needs to do with Juan Soto, we need to do with Kyle Tucker. Like, we cannot let Kyle Tucker walk, people. We cannot. There's just no way. There's no way that we let Kyle Tucker walk. Everyone's, oh, but we have Jordan. Yes, Jordan is probably the best pure hitter. Kyle Tucker is the best all-around baseball player, and I don't think we appreciate him enough. So that's my love letter to Kyle Tucker.
He went first to third on a play today that very few guys have the speed that are that good. Normally you sacrifice something, right? So you've got power hitters, you've got boppers, outfielders. They don't have the wheels. They're freaks of nature like Ronald Acuna Jr. I put Kyle Tucker in there as well because it needed to be a perfect throw to throw him out at third base. And it was not. And that kind of set the stage because it allowed Bregman to get to second. And this was the tack on inning, I believe. But just the fact that he puts so much pressure on your defense with his ability to steal bases and go from first to third, things of that nature. It's just such a luxury that not a lot of teams have, that if the Astros are smart, they'll go, I don't care that Joey Loperfido looks good. I don't care that we've got prospects in the minors that could play right field. I need to anchor this team with Kyle Tucker and Yordan Alvarez and go from there. I really feel like if they have to make decisions, he should be priority number one. And maybe not a sexy take, but the numbers speak for themselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So here's my question for you now, then, Tom. Kyle Tucker or Alex Bregman?
Kyle Tucker. I get a whole season of Kyle Tucker. I get what, 3 months or 4 months of Alex Bregman. I think that when he's right, Alex Bregman is worth every penny. The play he made, I want to say it was in like the 7th or 8th inning, where he's behind the bag, falling into the other out the other. Thank you, and just throws an absolute dime to Singleton, who doesn't have to move, like
Yep.
right in his face, and just so casually. That's a play that only Gold Glovers make. Susie tweeted it out. He looked like Arenado. He looked like any of the Mac
Yep.
Chapman,
Yep. Yep.
all the great defensive third basemen. He belongs right there. It's just, I think sometimes this the tinkering that he does and the constant, if it ain't broke, Don't fix it. That he doesn't do that. He's constantly broken. He's constantly working. That's a strength too, but at the same time, you feel like at least I feel like I know what I'm getting from Kyle Tucker, and he's a
Yep.
younger player.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. We head into, like I said, a three game series with the Milwaukee Brewers. Now, guys, I need you to not sleep on the Milwaukee Brewers. And I realize that they are in the NL and they don't have the big sexy names, the big sexy players. If you are really into baseball, you will know William Contreras. Wilson's the one that got his arm broken. William Contreras, younger brother, Christian Yelich, and Willie Damas. Those are the three people from the Brewers that you will probably name recognize. They did sign Reese Hoskins, who was their first baseman in the offseason. He's hurt with a hamstring, I think a strained hamstring. So there's going to be a timeshare at first base now. The rest of the position players, you will not have any clue who they are. I can rattle off names, and even I will have trouble telling you where these motherfuckers are playing. And their coach, not coach, excuse me, their manager, who was the bench coach last season, is now their manager. Craig Counsell went over to their apparently hated rivals. I wasn't aware that the Cubs had so many fucking rivals, but Cubs apparently have all the rivals in the world. Craig Counsell goes over to the Cubs, and now here is Pat Murphy. And I read a story about Pat Murphy. He was a college coach, and they would get all of these, I don't wanna say high dollar, high value, like, prospects, like, the guys who everybody has scouted, they know all the numbers and all that, and they would come over, and they would stink. They were prima donnas, they didn't wanna work, and he says, "Can I just get, like, a redheaded, short-armed that nobody wants?" And that guy was, like, Cole Calhoun. And he's, "Give me the orange lifesavers," and everyone would just look at him and, "Wait, what?" He's, "Give me the orange lifesavers." The orange, like, everybody wants the red lifesavers. You get the package of lifesavers, everyone wants the red ones. Nobody wants the orange ones, okay? Give me all of the orange lifesavers. And those are the guys who aren't scouted, who are undervalued, overlooked, but they're gonna work the hardest. And he's, "Give me an entire team of orange lifesavers. I will take that team all day, every day." And essentially, that is what he has right now. So in the offseason, they traded away Corbin Burns. The only quote unquote big name starter that's left that isn't hurt is Freddie Peralta. Wade Miley went down. Brandon Woodruff went down. It's literally Freddie Peralta is the only starter that most people will know. They don't have Devin Williams. Their airbender closer, don't have him. I couldn't even tell you their fucking bullpen. And I watch Brewers games, guys. But they're doing it with no name bullpen guys that are filthy and a bunch of orange lifesavers. Young guys that are hungry and want to play and are making names for themselves. Joey Ortiz, who they got in the Corbin Burns trade from the Orioles, is going to split time, I think, at third base. Sal Frelick, Bryce Terang is their second baseman. Jackson Churio, who they paid an extension to in the offseason before he even really came up, isn't doing great in center field, but they're riding with him. But you will see just like a kind of a carousel of guys, and they platoon hard. So just I will tell you that you guys have to worry about William Contreras. Everyone's, "Oh, Will Smith, Adley Rutschman, those are the best catchers." Everyone's sleeping. Everyone is literally sleeping, and this hurts me to say. Everyone is sleeping on William Contreras because William Contreras is probably the young stud catcher in the league, and that hurts me to say because you know how much I love Yiner. You know how much I love Yiner. William Contreras is literally the same age as Adley, and I would probably take William Contreras over Adley Rutschman, which is ridiculous to say. Everyone's, "What, Susie? Go look at the numbers. The numbers will parse it out."
I don't give a shit. Yiner all day, but sure.
Just saying, you know how much I love Yiner. You know how much I love Yiner. But if we're gonna do this, I'll put my money where my mouth is. Let's look at the numbers.
Ooh,
Let's look at the numbers and see.
I don't want him now. I want him at the end of the season.
Okay.
Get him at the end of the season. We'll revisit the
Okay.
catcher situation at the end of the season when all of them have 600 ABs, and then
Okay.
we'll go who did
Do you want
what.
do you want me to tell you William Contreras' numbers now though? Just so that people that are like, "Susie doesn't know ball," I'll tell you his numbers right now because I do know ball. He's accumulated 2.7 WAR in 170 ABs. He has 61 hits, 6 home runs, a 359 batting average, 3 stolen bases, a 434 on base, a 553 slug, which is good for a 987 OPS, people. 987. Remember how I said like a 1 dot OPS? Like that's Kyle Tucker level. This motherfucker is a 987. OPS plus, remember? OPS plus, park adjusted. Okay. 182. 182. Again, average for that is 100. So William Contreras is 82% better than your average baseball player at this moment in time. I love you, William Contreras. Mostly I love William Contreras because he's getting me all of the points on my fantasy team. That's why I love William Contreras.
He
But
doesn't for the next 3 days. I don't give you shit. And hope you start him.
I actually do have to start him because he's the only catcher I have on my team. So
No,
there's
I
that
won't
for you.
deny. I won't deny he's very talented. I will not. But when I think about all the young catchers in the league, I have no problem going ride or die for Yainer Diaz. Me and you, fought for him hard last year. I think he's doing very well right now. He's like hitting a little valley a little bit, but still very good. The bases clearing double today, what got the party started. I think that might be something that kind of he can ride on for the next week or two because he had struggled a little bit, but he does it all. He's got amazing pop time. He legs out things that a lot of catchers won't. And I think he's doing a great job with the rotation. I love the way Yainer Diaz has that energy back there to bark at pitchers. Hey, lock it up. Hey, let's go. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Or be the other guy too and be the hype man back there. Hey, that's a great pitch. I love what he's doing behind the plate. So if I have to, if I can't have the all out bopper that Willem Contreras is, I understand that, but I'm okay with Yainer Diaz.
Like I said, don't get me wrong. I will ride or die with Yiner. Okay. I will. I fought hard for him last season. He is a year younger than William. He's a year younger. The stats
Year 3 Yainer,
are
he's gonna dominate.
year three. I think year three Yiner will actually dominate. I'm not gonna lie. The stats are they're comparable. They're comparable. But when I say William Contreras is top tier, Yiner is midline, midline catcher. Like all of his stats right now are good. They're not great. William Contreras is great. Yiner's is good. I will take Yiner's catching stats all day, every day, especially the fact that 95% of catchers in the league are like below average all day, every day. I will take a catcher that is not a fucking black hole. Okay. But this will be an interesting test. This Brewers series will be an interesting test because the Brewers have been going through it as well because they've won, let's see. They are top in the NL Central right now. In their last 10, they're 6-4. They're coming in on a 2-game winning streak. Who did they just play? I don't remember who they just played. Pittsburgh Pirates. And I watched some of that game. I remember now. I watched some of that game and they were squeezing this zone hard for Pittsburgh and expanding it. Excuse me, they were squeezing the zone hard for the Brewers and expanding it for the Pirates. And I was shocked the disparity between the two. And I think in the 5th, Joey Ortiz hit a home run and then it just exploded. The Brewers kicked ass. I was shocked. I was shocked. So they're coming off of a little momentum. It's an off day. So maybe they got to ramp it back up for them. Let's see. And I'm actually going to that game tomorrow night. So if you see myself and my 2 adorable twins holding up signs saying all we want are for our 9th birthday are Tuck and Tuve bombs, it's us. It's us. It is Hunter Brown tomorrow night versus Freddie Peralta. So it'll be interesting to see what happens to that game.
I
Hopefully.
do.
Go ahead. Ha. Jinx, you owe me Coke.
I do get Hunter Brown's at home. I think if you're going to get his better start, I think it's going to be at home versus on the road. So looking forward to, he looked really good last time out. Looking forward to Hunter Brown continuing that. I know his numbers, if you just looked at the box score, you're like, oh, he's 0-4 with this huge ERA. But it was a lot worse to start the season. Gave up a ton of runs. So for him to be where he is right now, I'm absolutely not mad at Hunter Brown. And Freddie Peralta's the real deal. The real deal.
Yep. Hunter Brown came in for relief for CJ in Detroit and shoved, essentially. I think he went 5 innings, 7 Ks, no earned runs. I mean, it looked like the Hunter that we knew that he could be, the Hunter that we all hoped that he would be this season. So hopefully that kind of locked him back in and will give him some momentum tomorrow. I saw a stat that said that Hunter Brown was one of the top 10 hardest pitchers to barrel up. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense. And then I really thought about it and it absolutely makes sense because if you look at the little, if you've watched any of the Hunter Brown starts, you will see all of the little like dinks and doinks and not hard hit balls and all of the essentially the unlucky hits that you're like, what the fuck? Just like 55 mile an hour, barely in the infield loops, and you're all fuck. And then he gives up a couple of those and then the wheels fall off, right? And so you're all cool. Great, Susie. That makes me feel good. It should because he's got great stuff. He does. He does actually have really good stuff. I was listening to another podcast today. If you guys don't listen to it, it's called The Craft and it is hosted by Nick Pollock who runs Picture List and Eno Saris who created Stuff Plus. And they a lot of it is over my head, not going to lie. And when I listen to podcasts, I get a third of the information. Like it filters into my brain. And if I don't actually write it down, it doesn't stick in my brain. But I was listening to them talk about Fromber and Hunter. And basically, they were saying like the reason, like one of the reasons why Hunter is not doing as well as we'd hoped is essentially because he's nibbling essentially too much and trying to take velocity off of the pitches because he's trying to locate as opposed to giving it his all and throwing the pitches and just being like, here it is, motherfuckers, try and hit it. Like he's trying to locate and therefore not locating it correctly because he's trying to be too fine with it and then having to come over to the middle of the fucking plate and leave goddamn like hanging sliders so that people can demolish them. So when he's right, he's finishing and they used a lot better language, obviously. Like they were saying that he was like getting behind more in the ball and like a lot of things that I'm all, hold on, I have to listen to this again and break it down. But if you have the time, after you listen to us, obviously, go check out The Craft by Nick and Eno. And again, it's a lot of good information about all the other pitchers too. So you'll get a brief glimpse into other worlds, if you will. But Hunter, Justin, and then I think Spencer on the last day.
Correct.
Okay. So Justin goes against Bryce Wilson. Again, when I tell you that I legitimately don't even know these pitchers, it's because all of these pitchers have been, they're like fourth and fifth kind of starters and then been brought up. Bryce Wilson is one of these guys that was brought up, was not in the original rotation. And then I think the one on Sunday is Colin Ray, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Colin Ray against Spencer Arrighetti. And Colin Ray was one of their original, was in the original rotation, but he was like the fifth starter. And now he's bumped up to the third starter. Right-handed pitcher for Colin Ray. I want to say Bryce Wilson is also a right-handed pitcher. We shall see about that. And hello, game day. Come on now. People that are coming back off of the IL. Apparently, Chaz is rehabbing still in San Antonio, looking like he's going to come back within this next rotation of games. Urquidy also looking great. Something that I found very interesting. Bryce Wilson is a right-handed pitcher, by the way. They asked about a timetable for JP France and Forrest Whitley. And there is no timetable for their return, essentially. It's going to be a while. It's going to be a while, according to. So, see why I did not get excited about Forrest Whitley, people?
Yeah, but the one thing I'll say, and I think this is part of it too. I don't think there's any rush to bring either of those guys back when you look at how everything's starting to set up for the Astros from a pitching standpoint. When you talk about now they're in a full-fledged six-man rotation. So they're already like we wouldn't even have anywhere to put him if we wanted to. Like Forrest, obviously he's the bullpen guy, but JP, he would probably go into the pen as well with the emergence of Seth Martinez and like Sean Dubin, who's looked really good. Where are you going to put him? And then you talk about Jose Urquidy, who's on the mend, who's looking like he's going to be a June maybe, right? And then you talk about LMJ, who's July, and then you talk about Luis Garcia, who's July. And what is the incentive right now to rush either of those guys back if there's any question about whatever they got going on? And I just think that's Dana Brown being fully transparent, letting you know that, hey, don't look for them because we're not pushing them. And that's probably really smart because right now, I think a strength of this team is that they've got absolute great rotational depth. Your ace, your stopper missing a start would normally be bad for a lot of teams. I feel like the Astros right now are pretty well positioned to be able to handle that because they've got some other guys that can slide in and be pretty good. We're talking about Hunter pitching tomorrow and how great he looked in the last start. I think when you put CJ with this start, Framber with the start before that, Spencer with his start before that, all these guys are starting to figure out some things. And I didn't even mention Justin Verlander, who's a fucking Hall of Famer,
Yeah, JV shoved in Detroit. We did
which I
not
said would happen.
no one bell, nor Tom. No one bell, nor Tom. So yeah, we fing fingers crossed that we can take that series. We can take that series, grab some more momentum, and then we head into a series with the Angels, again, with no off day. So, again, imperative that we use the bullpen judiciously. Fingers crossed that the starters can do the starter things, and I in all of those great outings that we have had, we still have not had a lockdown, Ryan Presley, Josh Hader. It's where it's been like a lockdown type of thing. It's in that Ronell ejection game, Presley gave up a run. And so it's not been like lockdown zeros for everybody.
I think we're getting closer though.
We
Brian
are.
Abreu
I think
has
we are.
looked so good the last 2 or 3 times out. Obviously, we talked about Hader being great the last 2 or 3 times out. I really feel like Ryan Preston's going to figure out whatever he's got going on. I don't think it's an issue of where he is anymore as far as like the preparation or things like that. I just think he's getting a little unlucky. I want to say the situation he got into, I think there was like an error on that or something like that. I really don't think that Presley is too far off, is what I'm
Right.
getting at. And then maybe it's a Ranger series, maybe it's a Mariner series. Something that I think that's really going to help the Astros, especially if they're able to take this series, is right now the Rangers are really scuffling, and the Mariners are playing a difficult part of their schedule, which I don't think enough people talked about in the beginning, except for us. That the Astros played an incredibly difficult chunk of ball games to start this season, and while they didn't handle it as well as we'd like, they're past that now. So now you're going to start seeing series against an Angels team that's 12 games under 500 that they should take advantage of. You're going to see them play Oakland, who, while is having a great start, is not on paper the Astros. And we saw it in this mopping. They took advantage of that. So when you start putting some of these teams in front of them, it's bound to get them back to a point where if we're talking about 2 games here or there and they play head to head, I feel really good about what the Astros are able to do. People were talking about the Astros being within 5 games before the deadline. They could be leading the division by the deadline the way these teams are playing. And then you're talking about how can we add instead of how can we subtract?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I want to say that the Mariners, I think they play the Orioles and then they play the Yankees, I think. Two just heavyweights back to back. It will be interesting to see how that all unfolds. The Rangers just got swept by the powerhouse Rockies that have that has won 7 in a row now. If I'm yeah, 7 in a row. They swept the Rangers. They didn't just take the series, they swept them in Coors Field. That is the important part that I need you guys to understand. I was expecting Adolis Garcia and Evan Carter and Marcus Simeon and Corey Seager to, I don't know, hit 43 home runs. Maybe all in one game, but definitely over a series, and they were not blowouts. They were not blowouts. None of them. They were like pitched by the Rockies, obviously not that well pitched by like the Rangers. They were though, because they were all those games. They were like 3-1, 4-2. There were no blowouts. There really wasn't. And again, I was a little shocked. So
Do
Tom
you know,
pointed out,
do you know who the
sorry.
Rangers get after they play? It's the Angels. Do you know who they get? They get the best team in baseball, the Philadelphia Phillies. So all of these guys have to deal with some serious contenders. And 2 weeks from now, things could be extremely tight, the AL West.
Yeah. As of right now, guess who's in third place, bitches? Don't let us get fucking hot. Or I'm not gonna be that cocky bitch though. However, we are rightfully so, ahead of the Athletics. Okay, 5 games back. Texas is a game and a half back from Seattle. So, but after the Orioles series, after the Yankee series for the Mariners, after the series for Texas, like it's going to be really interesting to see where we sit, where the entire division sits after this. Because not going to lie, our record, while we are still under 500, 19-25, that is let's see, Toronto is 19-23, and they're 9.5 games back from the lead of that division, which is the Yankees. Let's see. Detroit is 21-22. Washington and the Mets are 20. Let's see. Cincinnati. Like we're We're right there, guys. We were right there. And again, it's not the season that we had anticipated, the beginning of the season that we anticipated. Nobody did. But the fact that we are getting our footing, the guys who are playing the way that we expected them to play are doing it. I think Jordan is going to get locked back in at some point in time. In the meantime, Kyle Tucker said, "Hold my fucking beer. I got this." Altuve doing Altuve
Goat.
things. Good God. I love this team, Al. I love this team. I love baseball. I don't actually love baseball. I hate baseball. It makes me feel all the feels. It does. It does. Did you know that the Dodgers are losing right now to the Reds?
Dodgers are struggling right now relative to the billions of dollars they spent for that team.
I need Shohei not to be struggling. I need Shohei to do the things. But
Not doing it
Shohei
right
apparently
now.
is not doing the things. The fuck's Shohei? Jesus. On Shohei bobblehead night.
That people waited 3+ hours in a line outside of the stadium to get.
All right, Glass now. They hit around Glass now. How the fuck? Glass now went 5, gave up 6 hits, 4 earned runs, 1 walk, 8 Ks. And his ERA is at 2.9. That's how you know he was a badass. So, yeah, guys, if you guys listen to any other like national podcasts that are saying the Astros are dead and Seattle and the Rangers it's going to be a boat race between those two, don't listen to them. Don't listen to them. They don't know what they're talking about. Okay. Don't. We know our teams. We know that the boys are going to come through. They're going to get hot when the weather gets hot. Just took us a little longer to warm up. I think we're going to wrap it up though. Tom, you have any last words? That sounded like very ominous. Not like last words.
In the next episode, we're replacing
Right?
Tom. Signing off, Tom. I'm extremely proud of this ball club. It's been a long time coming, I think, with some of these pieces trying to find their way to what is more like what we're accustomed to seeing them. Alex Bregman and Jake Myers, who's starting to play like a dude who could lock down the center field position. I know Susie talked about Chaz. That's her boy. We've talked about him being a center fielder, but I truly see a scenario where Jake Myers is going to have every opportunity, and he's starting to hit like it. And I think that a lot of things adjust if he's going to hit like a major league center fielder, because that's a premium position. And for his defensive things that we feel, the noodle arm and stuff like that, all of those things are not nearly as critical if he's hitting with the big boys in the lineup. And right now, he looks the part. So with this team, I think you have so much talent. Dana Brown spoke to it. If they're going to start finding this little groove, there's no reason to say that they can't go do something at the deadline to patch up a bullpen spot or something of that nature, if that's a concern, or B, just stand pat and go to war and see what they can do and really at least be able to claim this division and then turn around and see what happens.
Apparently, according to StatCast, Baseball Savant, there is, unfortunately, I say unfortunately, there is a new Kevin Kiermaier in town, y'all. There is another Kevin Kiermaier in town. If Kevin Kiermaier, he is essentially the best center fielder, defensive prowess wise. Defensive prowess. Everyone's Julio Rodriguez exists. Defensive, okay. Kevin Kiermaier is essentially the gold standard in that. And according to StatCast, guess who has overtaken that?
Are you going to tell me it's Jake Myers?
It is Jake Myers. Apparently, he 5.8 is the average feet that he covers. 40.6. That is like fucking stupid. That is fucking stupid. I don't understand the rest of this though, because like outs above average is like defensive metric, like what you look for is that, and then Dalton Varsho has 6, and like Michael Ciani, center fielder for the Cardinals, has 5. Julio Rodriguez has 4. Then Jake Myers, Pete Crow Armstrong, Kevin Kiermaier, Jaron Duran, Parker Meadows, Jacob Young, Blake Perkins. Like essentially the rest of those people all have 3. So I don't know how that's feet saved or lost on outfield plays due to reaction and routes. Apparently he gets like the fastest jump time and the quickest like routes to balls. Haha. In his face. No, but he catches
In his glove.
in his glove. He catches the balls in his glove. It's Jake Myers. And that hurts my heart a little to say. Don't get me wrong. I do. I really do, Jake. I have said this on the podcast before though. I think it would suit him better in a new spot that doesn't have the ghosts of performances past. But if he's going to turn it on, by all means, let's keep Jake Myers. Let's keep Jake Myers and let's do the things. But if he does the things,
Shouts to the
that
Phillies.
that leads me to believe that Chaz is going to get traded, and then it hurts my heart so much because I love Chaz so much, so much. Would he go to the Phillies?
Nah, I'm just playing. He's just a Philly kid.
He is a Philly kid, but I'm thinking of their center fielder, Rojas, and while they would probably lose a little bit on the defensive end, they would win some on the offensive end, and that would hurt my heart. Anyways, two guys that we need to give our shout out to that are no longer with the team, Corey Julks and Brandon Belak. Brandon Belak, they both of those guys got DFA'd and then traded. So Corey Julks is now with the White Sox, and I believe we got a reliever, a single A reliever. I think we put him in single A for him. Corey Julks immediately becomes one of their better players. I think they're putting him in triple A though. But between what? Tommy Pham, Paul DeYoung, and who was there? Jimenez? Did Jimenez come back?
Eloy.
Benintendi, Eloy. Regardless, guys, Corey Julks is a White Sox. He immediately will go over, hang out with Martin Maldonado, get some of the Tommy Pham fire. Who knows?
Could you imagine if they'd have traded Jokes for Tommy Pham? You'd have lost your shit.
I would have lost my shit. I would have lost my shit. That I that would have been so good. That would have been so good. The White Sox have to pay Tommy Pham $500,000 if he gets traded, which he inevitably will get traded.
Mm-hmm.
So stupid that Tommy Pham had to wait so long to get signed. Anyhow, Brandon Belak to the A's for cash considerations.
They didn't have to pay for a plane ticket. Okay, they're leaving. Just get on the plane.
Yeah. So Brandon will meet the team in Kansas City, where obviously the A's go next. And then we see the A's again next week when we go to Oakland. I can almost assuredly guarantee you that Brandon Belak starts one of those games against us.
And let me guess, you're gonna say he shoves.
Isn't that par for the course? Isn't that par for the course, y'all? Complete game shutout. Complete game shutout.
75
I
pitches.
will I will laugh if that actually happens. I will maniacally giggle to myself. It's like the Abraham Toro game where he got traded to the Mariners and just went to the next dugout and then immediately hit a home run off of us. He's gonna have his best game ever, Brandon Belak will. And I felt bad. I felt really bad because Brandon Belak literally 8 innings for us. Just mop up duty, just all of the innings, jacked up his ERA even higher. I felt bad for him, but it is what it is, and he had no options left. So he has to be on Oakland's 26-man roster for the rest of the season. If not, we get him back. And they have to pay us again. So we'll see what happens. But odds are, with all of the pitching injuries that they are going through, I can almost guarantee you that Brandon Belak slides into that rotation as like probably their third starter.
And if you're Brandon Belak and you want an opportunity, that's probably going to be the place you want to go. When you look at what the Astros have coming back off the injury list, there really wasn't going to be a place for him, even as a long man. If you think that Urquidy's going to slide into a starter, Hunter's going to eat that role. He excelled in it last time out, like we spoke. If you think that LMJ is 2 months away, he was going to have another hurdle to overcome because that's another roster spot that you're going to need. So I think that Brandon Belak, Corey Jokes. I even think Greg Kessinger, if something, you know, Jose Abreu comes back, they DFA Greg Kessinger. And not because he's done anything wrong, just because they're just not going to have enough roster spots. And maybe they trade him too and give him an opportunity to go somewhere and try to earn a spot on a team that needs a.
Yep. We are going to wrap it up. And we're ending on a high note, guys. We are ending on a high note. And this team is gaining its footing. It's gaining its footing. And I think we're going to make a run. We're going to make a run. Side note, people stop asking what Jose Abreu is doing and where Jose Abreu, like how his progress is going. Just stop. Big John has taken care of first base for now. Okay, just let him take care of first base. Let him take care of first base.
I'm okay if you legitly care about how he's doing because the Astros are paying him $19 million and you want him to be part of this team. I'm not saying that if he gets right, a la Alex Bregman, he doesn't have a place on this roster. However, for the people that are like, why didn't he start hitting 2 weeks ago? Why are they slow rolling this? If you want the whole Big John Singleton experience, then you want this rehab to take as long as it possibly does. And for a lot of people, they're totally okay with Big John being a guy that will work, count, walk, occasionally hit tape, measure tanks, that sort of thing. And you shouldn't care about the logistics. You shouldn't care that, oh, he just started right now. He's been gone for 2 weeks. What's he been doing? And so you already ate that money. You just want the team to win by any means necessary. And if Jose Brady comes back and he rakes, no one's gonna care. No one's gonna be like, thank God they took the time to get him. It's just gonna be like, I'm glad he's playing good. So I wouldn't stress over what he's doing, just that the day that he gets to Sugarland for a rehab start and he goes 3 for 4 with a bomb, and then you're going, all right, bring him up. Then we're good. Until then, all the Big John Singleton with a sprinkling of Dubon, Loperfido.
Yep. And honestly, I think it's gonna. I don't think Trey Cabbage has a place on the team when Chaz comes back, and I feel bad. I feel bad. Anyhow, with that, we're gonna wrap it up, guys. Tom, tell the people where they can find you on the interwebs.
On Twitter at Third Coast Tom, like it says right under my name, and on Instagram at Third Coast Tom One. It is something, or TC Tom One. Sorry, it is something that I'm working at a little bit here, there, and everywhere. Never been a big Instagram guy other than just scrolling, but now we're trying to put out a little something there. The PSF app, they are rolling out an awesome new feature that I'm looking forward to try with all of you, that you can gamble a little bit, we can wager a little bit, we can duel a little bit and put the money where the mouth is. It's this cool new app that's partnered with PSF app, Lucra, and it's giving you the opportunity to make small 1v1 games where we can do a little, I don't want to say the word bet, but a little friendly contest where Jordan Alvarez, is he going to hit more than Kyle Tucker? And you can take Tucker and I can take Alvarez, or other teams. It doesn't matter. It's a cool new function where Susie, myself, some of the other media casters will be on there doing that sort of thing. And obviously, it's a great place just to watch the game if you don't want to do any of that and you're not at the ballpark. We're there living pitch by pitch with you.
Absolutely. Hand up. I haven't really dug into it just yet. I will come, let's see, Sunday, I think is our next game, right? Sunday? Yeah. So Sunday will be our next game on the PSF app. I will dig into it probably Sunday morning. And then, I don't know, Sunday morning, put my money where my mouth is and bet Tom something. Absolutely. I don't know what we're going to do. We'll figure it out though. Check it out on the PSF app though and see what we come up with. It will be delightful and hysterical because that is who I am as a person. Duh. So all of my interactions are going to be like that. No, they're not. But with that, we are going to again wrap it up, and we thank you for joining us. If you have not already subscribed, hit that big red button. If you've not already given us a 5-star review, 5-star rating, excuse me, do that on Apple, Spotify, any other podcast listening platform that I am not aware of. Give us all of the nice words, okay? I would love to hear all of the nice words. Read them. It would melt my heart, all right? Tell all your friends. Hey, guys, do you like the Astros? Listen to this podcast. They're cool as fuck. Use those exact words, okay? No, I'm just kidding. Again, with that, we're going to wrap it up. We will see you guys after the Brewers series. And yay, baseball!